Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is at Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So welcome. Happy Wednesday. We appreciate everybody who has endured coming back to 3 days in a row of this nonsense. But the good thing is there's actually stuff to talk about again today. So as slow as the sport, a little bit.
Coronavirus, right?
No, real. Well, not that. That's not real. Oh boy, that would have been a big misspeak right there.
Yeah, I know, right? My county's down on lockdown now.
Is it? Did we mention yesterday you and I are both essential workers? You got your card, you said, right?
Yeah, I got the paperwork today.
You got the paperwork, okay.
So
anyway, we got legitimate things to talk about, not just filler stuff. Try to talk about the coronavirus the least amount as possible, I think. But obviously, we're gonna have Tyler on in the next segment after the news, and obviously we'll see how he's faring there in Texas. I think they just kind of restricted things just a couple days ago, so we will talk with him. And I don't really have an agenda for Tyler, but we're just going to kind of wing it, and it's kind of what we've been doing anyway. So I figure, why the hell not just keep doing it?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Let's go. So, before we get into all of that stuff, they are letting criminals out of jail, like just straight out of jail because of this coronavirus thing. Now they say non-violent, right? Well, what does that mean for you and me? I don't know yet, but I'll tell you what. There's something you can do. It's a company called Simply Safe. Now, with home security, there's two ways you can go about protecting your home. There's the traditional way, where you wait weeks for a technician to do a messy installation, and that costs a small fortune. Or there's the other way. That's the Simply Safe way. Simply Safe is everything you need in a home security system. It's award-winning protection. Two-time winner of the CNET Editor's Choice Award. Simply Safe blankets your whole home in safety. You get comprehensive protection for your entire home. Outdoor cameras and doorbells alert you to anyone approaching the home. Entry, motion, and glass brake sensors, the best in the business. All of those guard the inside. You barely notice it's there, but what's best about Simply Safe is you install it yourself. There's no one in your house doing it, and anyone can do it, just about. It takes up to maybe an hour tops, usually around 30, 45 minutes, and there's absolutely no trade-offs for your safety. So you'll have an army of highly trained experts ready to be dispatched to your home at a moment's. Actually, the security experts are not going to be dispatched to your home. What is dispatched to your home is the police. The police. They do that, though. So they're important. And they'll dispatch the police to your home at a moment's notice 24/7, and it's only 50 cents a day with no contracts. That's the best part. That's why The Verge calls Simply Safe the best home security system. Go to simplysafe.com/team today. That's SIMPLI safe.com/team today, and you'll get free shipping and a 60-day free trial. You've got nothing to lose. Go now. Be sure to go to simplysafe.com/team. That's simplysafe.com/team. Thank you, Simply Safe. Okay, well, so there's one off the radar and one on the radar as far as any kind of Syracuse basketball prospects go in the transfer portal. So there was, let's see, Columbia grad transfer, 6'10", 220-pound forward, Patrick Tape, who...
I think it's Tape, but...
Tape, whatever. Tape, I speak American. So...
Okay. not even a language.
Tape, whatever. It's spelled Tape. I didn't see an accent above it. Otherwise, I'd have questioned it. Anyway, he chose Duke. So he's averaging 11.3 points a game. Yeah, Duke come in late, swept him up. 11.3 points a game, 5.9 rebounds a game. But let's see. There was something inside the Loud House that was.
Well, who's the guy that's not?
Oh well, the guy that's available?
Yeah,
Joshua Morgan, 6'9", 229-pound forward. And he's a prospect of Syracuse. There was a tweet. I saw this at Inside the Loud House, and it referenced this tweet by @JakeWeingart10. Long Beach State transfer Joshua Morgan has heard from UCLA, USC, Arizona State, San Diego State University, St. Mary's, USF, Arkansas, Oregon State, Washington State, Oregon, Syracuse, and Texas.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm just throwing it out there because it's news. But he averaged 8.6 rebounds with the 49ers. 8 points and 6 rebounds with the 49ers. So
the only difference between this guy and Patrick Tepe was that he was a graduate senior. This guy would have to sit out a year, normal transfer, for 2 years eligibility, I believe. So he would have to sit out next year. So getting this forward wouldn't help for this next year anyway. And it would be just for the future and after, Dolzai's gone, Sidibe's gone. But again, after this next incoming recruiting class, then you're talking about Dior Johnson's class. And we've talked about how he's got some bigger recruits he's trying to get here. So if all those big names are going after this guy, though, and it's just, we have the roster space, and we know that he could help us in the future. I mean, getting this guy, letting him sit out and get adjusted to Syracuse and then come in when needed 2 years from now might not be a bad little thing to do.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. I guess. Is there a deadline? Is there a deadline for transfers? Do you know what it is? I'm sure there's a deadline. When is it?
I don't know the exact date, so I'm not even going to speculate.
Okay.
But they have some time.
Matthew Moyer was he transferred to Vanderbilt. What was it? It was the year before last year, right?
Right.
And now he's transferring again to George Washington. So, just for,
Yeah.
He didn't get a whole lot of playing time at Vanderbilt. I mean, he didn't get a whole lot of time playing at Syracuse either. It was kind of limited. He had one really good game against UConn, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One of those, was it a tournament game or was it one of the Big East Challenge? Was it something like that? Something along those lines, right?
I just think it was just a preseason game played at Madison Square Garden, I believe.
Really?
Or not preseason, non-conference. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a season game. But anyway, there was an article in Inside the Loud House again talking about how B.J. Johnson was really, his success as a transfer was kind of an anomaly. And, basically saying that what you see is what you get. And guys, most of the time, they transfer for a reason. If they're not getting playing time, there's a reason for that.
Well, yeah. And again, I think that was more of a kind of calm down and kind of take it easy about, the transfers and who we're losing and everything. I mean, I understand losing 3 like that doesn't look good. And obviously, Carey was a high recruit. Gadian looked like he had some promise. But if you go by the scoreboard of the transfers that have left versus the transfers that have come in, again, more times than not, the transfers that left have shown, why. You go all the way back to, I remember Chinoso Oboko, Deshante Riley, Ron Patterson.
Yeah. Deshante Riley, yeah.
So down to the Matthew Moyers. I mean, it's just... Yeah, who else? Caleb Joseph was another one, right? So transfers happen, but none of those guys really blew up. Now, B.J. Johnson, B.J. Johnson transferred to LaSalle and had a great 2 years. He had averaged 17 points and then 20 points as a junior and senior, respectively. And he actually, I want to say he got drafted in the NBA draft in the second round, but he's been in and out from D-League to NBA. And, But if you compare that to transfers we've brought in, like a John Gillen, an Andrew White, right? Michael Benajay, Elijah Hughes.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty good point. There's been some pretty successful, even though the year with White and Gillen wasn't exactly what we wanted as Syracuse fans, they gave us some very magical moments.
Oh yeah,
Some
100%.
seriously.
I won't forget that season. You know, and that ended up losing what we had an NIT loss in the first round to Ole Miss or something like that. So, you're not going to remember that season for that.
You're going to remember.
I'm never going to forget the
John Gillen beating Duke.
John Gillen beating Duke, but I was also in PNC Arena down here in NC State when John Gillen scored 40
points. Was it 40 or 43?
40 something points, and we ended up coming back and beating NC State. That was a pretty awesome game too.
He was awesome. He really was.
So I mean, it's basically just to kind of calm down the fans out there that want to call for Jim Boeheim to go and look at what the state of the program. I mean, there's always been transfers, and usually we actually have more transfers that leave that actually come in. So it's happened. It's happened all the way back from Mike Jones. You never heard of him again. So
yeah, there's probably 100 you can go over from back in the day. It's so hard to remember all these back,
Oh God, yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Louis McCroskey, Tony Bland.
All right, what else we got?
All over the place.
What else we got? We got Kai Milner. Do you want to save that for
Kai Milner? Yeah, I did see that today. I actually read that. That was with 247 Sports, correct?
Yep. You want to save it for Tyler?
Yeah, we can save the football stuff for Tyler. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Well, we'll have to have something to talk to him about, right? So, all right, well, we will talk about that. We'll discuss that with Tyler, and we will bring Tyler on here in just a minute. But first, let me tell you about LinkedIn. The perfect hire can have an impact on your business for years to come. So when you need to find the next person to help you grow your business, LinkedIn Jobs will match the right talent with your open role fast. LinkedIn has over 675 million members worldwide. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire. People with skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person on LinkedIn is hired every 8 seconds, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/team. Again, that's linkedin.com/team and get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah.
All right, join us now, former Syracuse defensive end and in limbo podcaster, maybe? Tyler Marona. Tyler, what's up, buddy?
I think the in limbo part can kind of go, unfortunately.
Really? We're holding hope.
Well, I got a new job, man. I got something to do.
Well,
that directly ties in with football.
I know what you're doing, but it's been a while since you've been on the show. And so, we talk now and then. We texted and stuff back and forth. We had a little group text going for a while. So just where we BS on and razz each other. But what have you been up to, brother?
So a lot actually has been kind of transpiring since I ended my show. That was the Trademark Podcast. But when that thing went to bed, that was good because I had something to do. And shortly thereafter, I went to go work for Houston Baptist University football. I spent the spring, or at least the spring semester, working with them as a defensive analyst, helping them out in spring ball. We got through most of our practices before the virus came through and ended the last week. So we really only missed 3 practices, which is 1 week of practice on the field. And so I got in a bunch of practices working with the defense. Coach Shealy, Coach Vic Shealy is the head coach over there. I wanted to thank him for giving me that opportunity to go work with them. And Coach Mills is the defensive coordinator over there. And again, I was working with him directly, basically as his assistant, breaking down tape and helping him out with his job, making sure that everything that he does was a lot easier for him as a result of me being there. And but since that time of being there in basically January through a couple weeks ago, I got a full-time offer to be a high school coach at St. Thomas High School here in Houston, Texas. And so I'll be doing that. And I'll actually be doing something I've been wanting to do since I was a kid, which is coach offense. And I'm really looking forward to contributing in the run and pass game of our offense at St. Thomas High School. So
Really?
I can't be more fired up for what I'm going to do. I play defense. I love defense, but for me, it's like I can't coach defense. I don't know what it is. Like I played it. I'm all out, but I see things through a defensive lens. So I think if I can coach offense and see things through defense, then hopefully I can use my talents to from what I see as far as a defender, kind of neutralize that on the
Sure,
offense.
how to read,
I'm really
how to
looking forward to
read
it.
defense, and that's obviously a huge asset to an offense. So
That's awesome.
yeah, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. So
Thanks, man. I
yeah,
mean,
it's something to build off of, right? I
wanna
mean, yeah,
what was that?
something to build off of. You're on solid ground. You got a good,
Oh yeah,
absolutely. So
Now, can I ask you a question? So,
No.
yeah. Go ahead.
how long has it been since you've been named the head coach there, or you took that job?
So definitely not head coach. I would say I'm closer to an offensive coordinator.
Oh, okay.
At St. Thomas, there is a head coach. His name is Coach Rich McGuire. He went to bat for me multiple times because the thing about high school is that and to be honest, I think I got my offer letter there. My original start date was today. I was supposed to start today, but with the virus, that got pushed back until the 13th of April. Texas has been a little bit more lenient on what's been going on with the virus. So, and especially at a private Catholic school, everybody's going to be quarantined and all that stuff. So I think we will be able to come back and contribute in spring ball and whatnot. But it's been about not even, I wouldn't even say 2 weeks since I got this job. So really between the time that folks last heard from me, I was at Houston Baptist all the way until basically a week ago. And when that full-time job just came out of nowhere. And the thing about high school is that you can't make a living wage just being a high school football coach. I think I'm going to get a couple thousand to be the coach, a coach at St. Thomas. In high school, you only get paid to be the head man. And there's going to be a couple years before I become a head coach there. So I really want to thank the administration for bringing me on as another administrator, to have a day job and to make money and all that stuff and support my family.
Right.
So that's kind of the other piece of the pie that's been really awesome for me because I've been trying for about 2 years now to get a job like that. And Coach McGuire, the head coach at St. Thomas, went to bat for me and said that, hey, this kid is really talented. He can do it and all that stuff. So it's been really cool that I basically have my dream job as a 25-year-old.
Yeah,
that's
awesome. That was kind of answered my question because I was going to ask you if you had been able to get to the school and possibly meet some of your players or see kind of
definitely, yeah,
what was coming in and everything like that. But with everything with the COVID-19 and everything, and obviously the other part was going to ask about how that is affecting your day-to-day life down there. I don't know too much about Texas. Me and Sean, we're both border states with Virginia and North Carolina. And
for sure, yeah.
We're both in a situation where it's like only essential travel, and we both have the whole essential job, so we still got to go to work and all that. But it's definitely, changing the everyday, and I just didn't know if it was the same thing down there in Houston.
It's been interesting, man. Houston's been more, or Texas has been more of like a day-to-day type of situation as opposed to like a week-to-week thing. I'm trying to think of how else like I can describe it, but the benefit for me was that while I was at Houston Baptist, they were recruiting St. Thomas players. So I watched all of the St. Thomas film being a Houston Baptist coach. So I know all the guys that we have on our roster because we were trying to offer all of them. Okay. And so Houston Baptist is a FCS level school or a 1AA level school. So they have to kind of be really smart about how they, send their offers out. But all the guys
they have limited offers, correct?
Yeah, way limited.
Yeah, so like Syracuse, are a Division I school, has 85.
Yep.
Houston Baptist has 63. It's like a whole class less than what a 1A school would have. But so St. Thomas, I was really lucky because I also got to go to campus one day as an HBU coach and go meet all the guys that way. And then we also had junior day at HBU while I was there, which is where we invite all the kids that are kind of coming up through the ranks and get them on campus and see all of them. And I got to meet our quarterback, which is a 6'6", kind of Justin Herbert light type of guy. I think that he can be Colt McCoy if he got the confidence within him to be that, a 6'6" version of that. And so I'm really excited about what I got. I mean, I got a tight end that's going to be a Division I guy, 2 receivers that are going to be Division I guys, and a Division I quarterback. So, I mean, you tell me what I can do with that. I mean, I think it's going to be the sky's the limit, especially here in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I think that we play the reigning state champ week 2. So we'll get a good look at what we're going to be. And then hopefully, depending on how that goes, we'll get a good idea of what it's going to be like, here on out. And I definitely see myself feeding at least one kid a year to Syracuse. So
there you go. That would be nice. That'd be nice.
Very nice.
I mean, that's my goal. I've seen that the town.
Does this high school, I mean, obviously you being with Houston Baptist, you've seen other talent around the areas and stuff like that. But as far as the St. Thomas school, because obviously we don't know too much about that, are they like one of those prolific kind of throw Division I guys out there every year, or are they on the up and up? I mean, what division do they play in? So, you know what I mean? Because in Texas, they're like, I mean, they have so many levels of football up there. It's ridiculous.
They do, and that's kind of the problem is that there's really, well, even in California too, that's kind of the problem is that it gets muddied so quick with how much is going on. So in Texas, there's 6 through 1A, and then those rankings have like 6A has 6A1, 6A2. So even within 6A to 5A, there's 4 divisions within those 2 words.
Oh, wow.
So, and then private school plays their own division
their own
as well.
leagues, right?
And they have TAPS. And TAPS is like Texas Association of Private Schools. So, but so we're TAPS 1, which is like the D1 of private schools, and we play at about the 5A2 level, which is essentially like I don't know, 85% of the top talent of Texas, if that would be comparable. So. So Tyler Murray played at Allen High School, which is like the best school in Texas. And if that's the cream of the crop, then we're about 80 to 85% of that talent level.
Got you.
Yeah.
We send out somebody D1 every year. So not this past year, but the year before, we sent the quarterback to the University of Miami. So that's a big recruit.
Oh, yeah.
And last year we sent a lineman to Louisville and a middle linebacker to Columbia. So, I mean, we have guys, but we're not like, Katy High School, which had Andy Dalton and had, everybody on the team plays D1. If you can start on that team, we're not that, but we're close.
Yeah.
So that's kind of we play at about 80 to 70, 75, maybe, I guess, to 85% of that level we play at, because we do have guys transferring in from those schools that want to go get a better education, set themselves better. So we're kind of, and the big thing for me is that I look for the character of the guys. I know that sounds kind of, cheesy or whatever, but I'm really looking to go make an impact on the young men's lives and make sure that they know that, whatever mistakes I made or whatever they need help with, that I'm there for them to go help them, not just on the field, because mainly I want to win, but that, if they need anything and they need help making college decisions, or if they need help getting recruited, that I'll be there for them too. So that's really what I want to make sure of. And I think that there's a couple fringe guys that we have that I can coach up better than maybe the next guy can, just because I was there at that level. And then, instead of being a 5 Division I scholarship player team, we can be a 7, and then 7 turns into 10, and then 10 turns into And then that's kind of
you start picking up the pace, and then got some guys that want to transfer in. You start getting that traction, right? So, yeah. Well, hey, man, good luck, and
thanks, guys.
Feed the orange some recruits, man, if you can.
I do see a couple guys that we have right now that could potentially be really good fits. I mean, our tight end is really like Aaron Hackett. I mean, kind of like a wild overlap. I mean, really crazy. So.
Nice.
Speaking of talent and everything, we do have a 2021 recruit, another one. This be we already have one 2021 recruit, but we're looking at Kai Milner. He's a 24 best pro-style quarterback in the class of 2021, according to 247 Sports. He's got offers from Arizona State, Boise State, California, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa State, Michigan State, Washington State, and also Syracuse, as well as others. How big's this guy? I can't find it. Anyone?
6'2", 180. That's the size.
6'2", 180. So we just mentioned this to Tyler quickly, and once he racked his brain with it, he remembered hearing this kid's name before. So we were gonna.
I do, yeah, which is crazy.
We were gonna talk about it before you got on, just as like part of the news. Before we got into talking about our movie bracket, this glorious movie bracket we got, that I know Tyler's been paying very close attention to. So
I doubt it.
I've voted on every single one that you put out there.
Did you really?
Because I want to be a part of it. Yeah,
okay.
Every single one that you put out there, I've been in.
You're the man, Tyler. You make me feel so good.
I love you.
I just appreciate you not banging on my seatings. Like everybody else.
There's a couple in there that I was like, we're
gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. But first, interesting story about Kai Milner, Tyler.
Yeah, so what we kind of hashed out before we went on air was that he has a high school coach that played for the now director of player development, which is help me out, Joe. Roy
Whitkey. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's Whitkey. And so Coach Babers, what he wants to do is he kind of wants to do what Texas does in a modern way, which is where like when a new coach comes into being the Longhorns, UT, Texas football's coaches say, okay, we're putting a wall around Texas and everybody that we want in the state, we get. That's kind of what every coach is going to want to say. We want to dominate, our home turf and all that stuff. Coach Babers thought about it in the inverse way, which is who has the connection to us and who can help us, even if they're not here in New York, if they're not there in California, let's say they're in the Virgin Islands and they got a guy, who cares? As long as they have someone that they can give to us, we want to stay in contact with that person. So Kai Milner has a coach that played for Roy Whitkey back in the day when they were at Eastern Illinois. And so Coach Babers has a spreadsheet of every coach in high school that has a connection to Coach Babers, to Syracuse University, or to the coaching staff. And so when they see a guy that pops up that they like, they scan the database and say, hey, do we know somebody at that school? Because if so, they're going to be loyal to us. And so that what we can do when we see a guy that we really like, and the difference comes down to, is it going to be the hometown school or the school that has, a connection to? Hopefully that will be in that running. Because it's definitely hard when you got a guy in Gilbert, Arizona that really likes U of A because it's really close and you know what's going on. And I get it, being a West Coast recruit that went out east. Listen, if USC offered me and it came down between USC and Syracuse, Syracuse was not getting the love. But Syracuse did all that they could before it got to SC giving that offer, and then said, we've done everything on our part, so you should choose us based on the fact that we have all the connections that you need that's just like USC. And here's the reasons why that you shouldn't let it get to a USC offer and that you should choose us. And I think that's what Coach Babers is trying to do, here on out, is make sure that he has guys that are in his corner, that when something does come up in a national school that should be like Syracuse has the opportunity to go get a guy in Gilbert, Arizona, but they can't.
No, and that's that football La Familia culture that can trickle down, right? Trickle down through the coaching trees, and they can. I mean, if it's real, and like you said, as far as character and as far as very well that there's a lot of kids that go to certain colleges that don't get that culture is not there. The family and it's down to business, wins, football, and every coach runs it a different way. School runs it a different way. But the one good thing when reading the 247 Sports article that they had on the Syracuse page about Kai Milner was that I guess they used to live in North Carolina. You got a bunch of family that's on his mother's side, I believe, that lives in Ohio. So he's pretty much came out and stated that moving and travel and distance isn't a huge thing for him, which is a positive for us for sure.
Right, and that's the thing is that like when you have somebody in your corner that like knows that little tidbit, that is huge for you, right? Like if you don't have to pay for information or you don't have to pry that out of a recruit, it goes a long way. And then like all of a sudden you just have that information to like kind of go back and forth with the recruit and just being like, hey, is it a big deal for you to move? No. Oh yeah, and that's right because your dad, did all this stuff and or whatever the fact is, and then like all of a sudden now you give yourself like a legit shot at landing a good national recruit. Because there's more than just like, hey, we're good, so you should play here. Like there's more to that in college, obviously.
I mean, are you sick of beautiful weather? Come join us in upstate New York. Are you sick of the sun?
I will say Arizona is not beautiful. Arizona is some weird type of like Western, like whatever you see like in a Western movie, that's what Arizona is like. It's like red. Like it looks red outside most days.
Just hot haze, bro.
I mean, I know. I have a cousin that lives there.
Spent a lot of time in Phoenix. Yeah, my dad spent most of his life most of his life in California, but he went to high school in Phoenix. And
I have a cousin in Yuma. What's Yuma like?
Not great, man. I'll tell you, it's not the best.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, but between Orange County, California, and Yuma, Arizona, I think I know which way I'm leaning.
Okay, I gotcha. Fair enough. I've
been to parts of California that look awfully close to Arizona.
Well, once you get like an hour east of LA, it's basically Arizona from that point until you get to like here.
That's the only California I saw when I traveled to California.
What?
What did you for work? It was for work. So it was out in like Ridgecrest, Tehachapi, out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
dude, I'm sorry.
Yep,
I'm very sorry.
Well, dude, I work for an energy company, right? So, and we had some contracts with some. So, I mean, when I flew into LAX, I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then take the drive out to. And then all of a sudden you're out in the mountains in the desert and you're like, okay.
Furthest west I've been is Bristol, Tennessee.
That's
the
problem is, you know what I always want to say to people? It's like, oh, you should come visit Houston. And then I realized there's nothing to do here. Like, I would say, like, hey, you guys should really come visit. But there is, like, I would feel bad telling you guys to, like, oh, like, make a plan to come out here and visit me when, like, it's not that great. So I can't, like, lead you to, like, a dry river, essentially, So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to, like, entice people to come here without actually telling them the truth. I mean, we got bayous if you like swamp.
That's true. There are gators in Texas.
All right, so, what else?
Did you guys ever see that picture with the alligator with a knife in its head?
No.
Yeah, that was from Texas.
Was it?
that was actually right up the road. I actually know where that was.
They missed the spot.
Yeah, there's
exactly.
There's a spot on the alligator's head that's the kill shot. It's like the size of a quarter, and
and you can do it with. I mean, it's soft enough you can hit him with a 22. That's what they hunt them with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whoever used the knife missed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't. Anyway.
Someone trying out for swamp people.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's do the movie bracket stuff. Okay, we've wasted enough time. All right, Joe.
What do you mean wasted enough time? We're having a conversation.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. I was listening. I was enthralled. So, no, I was seriously. So we finished up the '90s region. I'm just gonna go through these. You guys tell me who you picked. I mean, most of these are really easy to me, to be honest with you. So we'll see.
Since half your '90s movies are trash,
and we'll see. We'll see. Well, look. So the honest truth about the 90s region was I was looking for what was popular and then I mixed in ones I liked. So there are some that are like not great. Like The Sixth Sense, it was a good movie, but it's forgettable to me. So that's why some of those are in there. So, anyways, 1 seed Forrest Gump against 16 seed Clueless. Tyler, who'd you have there? This is an easy one.
So, real quick before we go any further,
Okay.
I have to tell you guys that I was born in the 90s, so there's a lot of these movies that are like pre my time, like pre my birth.
You're 26, right?
25. Well,
25.
Turning 26 this year.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. In this bracket, I have Forrest Gump, and I have seen Forrest Gump, and I don't care who's on the 16 side. Forrest definitely takes the cake in this regard. That's actually one of my favorite not favorite movies, but that's a really good. Like I have nothing bad to say, but like it's like a empirically nothing's wrong with that movie. There's very few movies that are like that.
Yeah.
And that's one I can sit down, and if it's on, I'm not turning the channel.
Right.
So.
Right, yeah, it's one of those you have to watch. Yeah,
and Clueless is only on there because of your wife, Sean. I mean, we've noticed that, or we've said that before. So
yeah, just so you know, Clueless was not on there, and I forget who I removed for Clueless. But when my wife looked through the bracket, she said, "What do you mean Clueless isn't on here? What kind of bracket is this? This is horrible." So I was like, "All right, fine." I just appeased her with it, and I threw it against Forrest Gump, knowing it wouldn't last long. So.
Yeah, well, and even though I tried to.
Yeah, the movie
Even though
to
I
die.
tried to inspire everybody to vote for Clueless at the end of last night's podcast, I voted for Forrest Gump.
Okay. I voted for Forrest Gump, obviously. All right, before we continue, Tyler, I was just curious to know if you had any issues with the seedings, maybe on previous brackets that were put out the past couple of days or anything like that. Something you thought was maybe, underwhelming or probably just an awful matchup.
So I will say this. After looking at the sports region, that's kind of where your eye goes to first and foremost, because it's in the top left. What a loaded bracket. I mean, I can't get over that. I mean, it is so loaded, top to bottom. I mean, to me, again, Mighty Ducks, 16 seed. Oh my goodness. Like that is a severe underseeding. Only because like that was like the first sports movie of my lifetime. So there's a little nostalgia play in there.
Sure.
Happy Gilmore being an 11. I mean,
know.
Come on, that's one of the greatest comedies of all time.
Sure.
Rocky 4 being a 2. There's definitely an argument for 1 there. I mean, there's just a couple things that you could see. But
what
again,
about Days of Thunder?
Let me not dissuade the listeners from understanding what happens. Joe Lenardi time, come bracketology, everybody always gets underseeded. Whenever you think it's going to go your way, it never does. So I'm totally fine with that. But the biggest, I guess, kind of oversight, misstep, the one thing I have a problem with, the one thing that hurts my soul, Anchorman being a 15. There's no way. And Dodgeball being a 13. Dodgeball is my number 2 movie of all time, right behind Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, wow.
Number 2 movie of all time. Yes.
Sean hasn't even seen it, so.
No, I saw Shawshank. I didn't see Schindler's List.
Dodgeball, buddy.
So
I gotta try to dodge the question there, buddy.
No, it wasn't. I didn't know what you were talking about.
My rankings go as such. I always go a serious movie that's trying to get a point across, number 1, a comedy number 2, another serious movie, another comedy movie. So it's basically like you have your serious movie category and your comedy movie category. Dodgeball is my number 1 comedy movie of all time. Hands down, no questions asked.
What?
Take that, put it in your pocket. That's just the way it is. It's got all my favorite actors, my favorite plot line, and it's got a funny message. I don't know what you have against it. That's a 13 seed. And Anchorman, you know what? For as many people that think that Anchorman is kind of a drawn-out thing, it also has a message that's really a hard satire on what California news actually is, and I liked it.
I love Anchorman, by the way.
And you put it as the 15th?
No.
Well,
Joe did. Joe.
This is the reason.
Joe, zip it.
I would love to hear the argument for both.
Joe seeded the comedy region and the sports region, and I seeded the 90s region and the action adventure region. Which there's problems with mine too. But Joe seeded Anchorman at a 15 is absurd.
Fellowship of the Ring being a 2 seed versus Castaway as a 15 is kind of wild too.
Is it though? Is it though? Let's
He's missed. Look,
The 215s are probably the most off out of all the brackets.
Look, so the thing with the comedy was I tried, and we talked about it because we learned a lot from these brackets. I tried to throw some older ones in there, some spoofs, things like that. But
some spliffs.
I definitely missed. I think that I missed a couple as far as I didn't have Dumb and Dumber in there. There's no Fridays. When I go back and look at it, I mean, even Role Models is to me just a very funny movie. But
but I don't think that you guys I don't think that you guys omitted that many Wedding Crashers being in there, Christmas Vacation being the 1 seed. I think I'm okay with because that's kind of the all-time classic that you hold up on there.
Right.
I think that the bracket is solid in and of itself. I just think that based on differing of opinion, from me to you, we're just in totally different stratospheres. I think that if you put this with my age group, I think that the seeds are flipped just because of the fact that it's not that the bracket's wrong. I think that the contenders are wrong. I just think that the seeding is wrong just based off of my generation's version of entertainment. And that's
and there's different types of comedies now versus what they used to be, right? I mean, Spaceballs, Naked Gun, those type of movies, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I mean, those were classics. And nowadays, you get the younger generation that don't even really know what those are.
They don't even they don't get them. The dry humor, they don't even get it.
I'm the cutoff on those. I still think my class still thought they were funny. Even if you go to the graduating class of 2013 from high school, they may not. I think I was the very last person that thought those movies were funny.
Right. And then as far as the sports region went, I felt there's some people that'll look and say, "Oh, you took out Hoosiers and Rudy. What are you thinking?" I'm a huge football fan, but I never liked Rudy.
I don't like Rudy that much either. The two that I think that you're missing right now is Hoosiers and Coach Carter. I don't think I see Coach Carter.
We talked
in there.
about Coach Carter.
Not in there. No, and we did talk about that. We did have a bunch of basketball ones. I didn't want to load them up with the same sports because you can also go to the He Got Game isn't on there. Any Given Sunday isn't on there.
Yeah, these are good. These are good movies.
Yeah, they are. And
sports, that's what I said. Sports is loaded. I mean, sports is really the toughest one. Because I
had
even
Happy Gilmore in there as 11 because I was it could easily go in the comedy bracket, right? But it's a sport, but is it really? I think it leans more towards the golf section, actually. Which is funny because it is a comedy, but what is the story? It's a golfer that was a hockey player, and it's a double entendre there, Yeah.
So
yeah.
and Caddyshack too, though, same thing. Caddyshack too.
Get the Tin Cup in there. Yeah, Caddyshack, same thing. I thought Tin Cup is a pretty good movie, but you can't have 3 golf movies in there. And of course, Sean needed to have Days of Thunder in there. So
that's the one that I'm not necessarily following you on that one.
Yeah,
but,
I'm definitely in the minority.
That was a mandatory one coming from Sean, and I told him that I could have put Talladega Nights up against that, and Talladega Nights would have beat Days of Thunder.
It's probably possible, but still a great movie. All right, let's go on with yesterday's result or today's results from yesterday's bracket. 8 seed Braveheart versus 9 seed Seven. I mean,
Can't believe Braveheart's only an 8 seed. You're killing me, bro.
Braveheart wins though. I picked Braveheart. Tyler,
what was the percentage on that? Was that a bloodbath?
It was pretty bad. 71-29.
Yeah, that's a bloodbath. Yeah,
looks like William Wallace ran through.
Yeah. Obviously, yeah. No, Braveheart's the way to go.
Yeah, Joe obviously went Braveheart. Let's see, 5 seed Silence of the Lambs and 12 seed Sixth Sense. I went Silence of the Lambs. That was another bloodbath. 71-29, same exact results.
I went Sixth Sense.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's a cannibal, man. Hannibal the Cannibal.
I see dead people.
That's creepy. Tyler.
So
Tyler's
we're down
never seen either one of these.
Where are we at? Sixth Sense versus Silence. Let me see where I voted here. I think I went Silence on this one. I like Silence.
I do too. I mean, it's okay. They started to get a little too much. But
hey, where's Bad Boys in this '90s bracket anyway?
we already talked about Bad Boys yesterday.
Huge omission.
We talked about this yesterday.
Oh,
You know
sorry,
what's
Tyler
funny?
wasn't here yesterday. My bad.
You know what? You know what's funny is that I think about this as being like, what's the 2000s bracket? Because like that to me is like my like 90s version of this.
True. It was,
So then I think about like Bad Boys 2. To me, that's Bad Boys 2. I think is probably number 4 on my all-time list as far as as far as movie goes. So
yeah,
I like it better than I like it better than Bad Boys, but it wasn't a '90s movie. I don't believe.
and we learned a lot from this.
yeah, I think Bad Boys 2 was 02. Let me just say
but the original Bad Boys is '95.
Yeah. Bad Boys 2 was...
And then, Titanic. I'm not saying Titanic is like my favorite, movie, but I mean,
Titanic
that won so many. I mean, come on.
So what?
Just
It won
out
awards.
there. If you're going to throw out E.T., just throw out a Titanic. Come on.
The E.T. is a wild move. I don't think that anybody in my generation even knows what that movie is.
Oh, come on.
Dude, I hated E.T. I'm not going to lie.
E.T. made me feel uncomfortable the entire plot line. I didn't like it at all. I think that movie is a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. If any critic even liked that movie, shame on them.
We're not
Plus,
even
he
too.
groped Drew Barrymore.
You guys, that we're not even discussing that right now. It's not even. You're not even in the right bracket right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
4-seed Private Ryan. 4-seed Private Ryan versus 13-seed Green Mile. Look, both of these are really good movies. It was too easy. I picked Private Ryan too, but I thought the Green Mile was a good movie. The problem with the Green Mile is it's so long. But this is Tom Hanks versus Tom Hanks. So anyway, who'd you pick, Joe? Who'd you pick,
Obviously.
I mean, I've never seen Green Mile. Shocker. But saving. I mean, come on.
Don't waste the 3.5 hours.
It's not terrible. It's long though. It's
good, but it's long.
It's really long. 6-seed Shawshank Redemption, 11-seed Schindler's List. Shawshank Redemption killed him. This is the biggest bloodbath on the bracket on this side of the bracket,
as it should be. This Shawshank Redemption is a 1 seed, and I've seen both of these movies, and they're both good movies. Shawshank, Sean, I want you to do me a favor right now.
Okay. Anything for you, Tyler? Anything for you? Yeah.
Okay. Go to IMDb.
Oh boy. All right.
Do you know how to spell that, Sean?
L.
And then, hold on. We're gonna go to top-rated movies underneath the. If you go to the menu page and you click it,
top-rated movies. Yeah.
Top-rated movies. I want you to see what's number 1 on that list.
True that. Yeah, The Godfather. It's another one we missed. You
didn't put The Dark Knight in there, but you put Batman
the number
1989.
one movie of all time on IMDb is Shawshank, and you put it as a 6 seed? Are you kidding me?
All right.
Are you kidding me?
So when I texted you the other day and I said, "Hey Tyler, do you want to come on the show and trash our bracket?" Ha 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 ha. That was a joke. That was just.
It was a joke as long as you were only trashing my bracket.
I'm gonna pick it up.
As long as you were only trashing my bracket, then everything was fine.
Tyler. It was a whole lot more fun trashing Joe's side of the bracket than my side. Oh
yeah, and like I said last night,
more personal when it's your end of the bracket, huh?
Yeah, and then suspiciously, the first 2 regions shown and voted on were mine, right? Yeah, okay.
So
great, that works.
Well, here's a good one. I think everybody can agree on. Goodfellas over Fight Club, right? 3-seed Goodfellas. I think both of those are seeded correctly. Come on. Fight Club, not that great of a movie, man.
What?
Just okay, dude. Just okay. And the polls showed it. Just okay.
Well, let me ask you, how did the poll actually turn out?
73-27 on Twitter.
Goodfellas?
Yeah.
I didn't see it beating Goodfellas, but I thought it could have been a better rank to have maybe a better chance against another movie.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, Goodfellas was one movie I hadn't watched until a week ago. So I watched it literally last week, and it's on Netflix, and I've seen Fight Club 4 or 5 times. I'm a product of the Fight Club era, so I voted for Fight Club because I just saw Goodfellas last week. I don't really get Goodfellas. I mean, I feel like that movie's been done 100 more times, 100 better ways since it's been out.
I mean, that's a good point.
Maybe it was the first of its kind, but literally, The Irishman was a better version of the same movie.
The Irishman was very good. Another long movie,
I like
though.
The Irishman because it's the same cast, it's the same director. It's literally Goodfellas Part 2.
Yeah, it's just a different story. Did you see The Irishman, Joe?
No.
It's another 3.5 hours.
Yeah, it's really good, though.
I liked it a lot, actually. I thought it was, and I think that's what was tough, is because The Irishman, I think, was part 2 of Goodfellas, but it was just to me, I watched them out of order. So I watched part 2 before part 1, kind of a Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1 type of situation, where the sequel's better than the first one, in my eyes.
Yeah, which is rare, because I just watched Jumanji 2, and it was nowhere near as good as Jumanji 1. I'm talking about both the remakes, not the original Robin Williams one, but the one with The Rock. Jumanji 2, not that good, guys.
I don't have to suspend disbelief on that one.
Number 7. Well, here's, I don't know. Maybe this is right up Tyler's alley. Maybe this brings back some memories for you. 7 seed Lion King, 10 seed Toy Story. Toy Story took it through social media. I voted Lion King, though. Gotta be honest with you. So I think Lion King's great. The remake is just as good, but obviously it's the exact same thing, but with better visuals. So, Tyler, was this a movie you watched? Your parents put on for you when you were 5?
So, yeah, both were actually. Toy Story was the first movie I went to go see in theaters. Apparently, I actually vacated my seat as a youth and went up to the screen to literally go be a part of it, because I didn't get that it was a movie and that I couldn't actually go be a part of.
You were trying to get
what
in
was
it.
going on in the. Yeah, I was literally trying to go be a part of it. So. I've seen both about 1,000 times, but I think that at the core of it, I think Toy Story is just a better movie. Better story.
Okay. Well,
I don't think both are far off. I think this is actually probably the closest matchup that we've had so far. I think that this is, both teams are exactly the same. One thing that did it was coaching, and in this matter it's directing or screenwriting. I don't know.
Well, and I think this was one of the first type of Pixar type movies, right?
Yeah, with that type of animation.
With that type of animation versus right. So I think that might have had something to do with it as well. I believe that was the reason why I actually saw it in theaters too. I mean, I think I was what year was that?
Oh,
I think that was about 98, 99.
98, 99.
I think I was 13. 12, went and saw it with my brothers and my family and stuff. I remember seeing it in the theaters too, and it was all the hype was the new animation. 95. Okay, I was 12.
5. Wow. So I was 1.5. My word.
No wonder you were up there trying to get in.
I thought I was closer to when I was in kindergarten, but no. Sheesh.
All right, here's one I totally got wrong, though. I really did. And I underestimated Jurassic Park as a 15 seed. I'll admit it. Versus 2 seed Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction barely squeaked by on social media. Well, by 86 to 78, which is close. Too close for a 2 and a 15. But Jurassic Park almost pulled it off.
I don't think Jurassic Park's good at all.
I don't either.
So.
I don't either.
Pulp Fiction ran away with this thing, but I don't know.
I know, right? Because Pulp Fiction on your IMDb, is 8.
Jurassic Park didn't know how to spell it.
Jurassic Park is nowhere close.
Jurassic Park's not a good movie. I don't know how that. But you know what? You know what's weird is that some people actually it's a cult following type of movie, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that it had that much play.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Apparently it does.
Yeah, which is just
Jurassic Park was a big deal when it came out.
It was, and that's the thing is that maybe we're underestimating the release date. I don't really know how that goes.
I mean, my thing was the problem with Jurassic Park for me was that they kept making movies. In my opinion, because you don't. I mean,
sometimes you need to just stop.
I mean, money, whatever. But I mean, I just saw the latest one a couple weeks ago. Was okay, but at the end of the day, I mean,
you're gonna come across Pulp Fiction. You think that you're gonna survive?
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, real quick, the only side that we got finished, we might as well go over it super quick here. Remember, the Titans is going against Varsity Blues, Waterboy against Space Jam, Happy Gilmore against The Sandlot, Caddyshack versus Rocky IV. Oh, we don't have anything totally complete yet. But on the other side, in the comedy region, you got Christmas Vacation against Wedding Crashers, Groundhog Day versus Dodgeball, Tropic Thunder versus Hangover, which I still got to see, and Tommy Boy versus Anchorman. And if this thing has taught me anything, is that some of the movies on here that I haven't seen, I need to go see.
Which ones haven't you seen in that?
I haven't seen Tropic Thunder.
Region?
I haven't seen Tropic Thunder.
That's a good one.
Is it? Yeah.
Have you seen Hangover?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love Hangover. Sure. The first one. Yeah.
Anchorman, Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen
Dodgeball?
Dodgeball I have seen, man, but I don't remember it. It's a long time. That's an older movie.
It is.
You need to watch Dodgeball, and you need
Dodgeball's 04, but I will tell you this: it stands the test of time. That's one of the only movies I've ever seen stand the test of time. I've
Christmas
never
Vacation
seen a movie
is the only classic movie.
Do what Dodgeball did. Dodgeball literally made Ben Stiller into a character that supersedes every other character he's ever played in his life. I've never seen cinematic genius like I've seen Ben Stiller play White Goodman in Dodgeball. And I don't mean to under or oversell that, because I think some people would come in and trumpet for Ben Stiller harder than I'm doing right now. So
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And honestly, in the back and forth with Vince Vaughn was just
unbelievable.
It's hilarious. I mean, that made that whole movie. And it's funny too, because there's a movie it's in the 90s called Heavyweights. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The whole movie is about a fat camp. And that was like one of the first movies I saw. Yeah. Ben Stiller. That was like
it's the same iteration of Ben Stiller.
Yes,
this is the same iteration. Yep. And what is Heavyweights so good about? It's about making sure Ben Stiller is the superstar.
Yeah, that was what made that movie. And then it was like Dodgeball was like Dwight Goodman on steroids, basically, from that movie. 100%.
100%. Whoever watched Heavyweights and then made Dodgeball, I love you. I don't know who you are, but I want to tell you that I love you, because they're
probably listening. They probably are.
God willing. But no, I will tell you this. I love Dodgeball. It's something I think that hit me at the right place at the right time, as far as being on the playground, maybe in 6th, 7th grade when that thing came out, or when it breached my eyes, and I was just like, you know what, this is awesome. This is what every junior higher wants to do, is go play in a dodgeball tournament and win, and get the girl and all that stuff. And I thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was a perfect timepiece, for what it was, at least in my life.
Well,
it's kind of the same thing when Superbad came out. Like, Superbad was the thing that hit me at the right place at the right time, and I was literally like a freshman in high school trying to find my way, and it was the same exact thing that happened. And I was like, you know what? I could not have laughed harder at a movie in my life than Superbad, just because it was as if the characters on screen were reading what my dialogue was in real life.
Yeah, that was like my Varsity Blues. I was a freshman, sophomore, and then this Varsity Blues comes out, and I was, I'm like, okay. But the Superbad, it had some things where it was just because I was a little bit older, when it came out.
Doesn't
and
really
I'm like, you know what I mean?
Was that with McLovin?
But I mean,
with
Dodgeball, yes, the McLovin one, yeah. Even with Dodgeball too, Jason Bateman, very underrated. Love that dude.
Yeah, Jason Bateman is
awesome. Yeah. So I tried to tell Sean that Bad Words is pretty funny. He hasn't seen it yet. I'm trying to get him to watch it, but
I'll
what's funny about the McLovin thing, real quick, Sean?
What
is that? The first month I was at Cuse, my next door neighbor in my apartment goes, "Hey, I got a fake ID connect," and I was like, "Yeah, no problem, let's do it." And then me, my roommate, a couple other people all got fake IDs. And so the first time, and then we got them in from China, literally from China. Mine was from South Carolina. I think that's kind of why I still want to move to South Carolina, so I can like compare my real driver's license to my fake South Carolina license. And I go to use my fake ID at Skytop Liquor on, right at the end of Colvin there, or Comstock or whatever it is. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, no problem. Let me just see your ID." And the guy behind me was Trevor Cooney, and he was about to check out. And I kind of look back just to look back and just kind of give like an exhale of like, "Hey, if this doesn't work, you have to be there for me." And just so happened to be Trevor Cooney. And I look back and I kind of gave him the look like, "Hey man, are you going to be here for me? Like if this thing goes bad on this fake ID." And he kind of gives me the look back of being like, "I mean, my whatever I got going on isn't really, the best, but we'll see what happens." And the guy looks at both of us and goes, "You guys, I know you guys both play sports, and every time you guys play, I always like watching." And he gave us both our drinks. We went on our merry way. And then, ironically, today I saw the Gonzaga highlight of Trevor Cooney ripping off the ball.
So that
Gonzaga. And it brought me back to that time of like the first time I met Trevor Cooney, and one of my really good friends that I have from Syracuse was when we went to go purchase alcohol legally. And so that was a funny trip down memory lane today. And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Did he give you an autographed picture of himself when he first met you?
No, actually, we went out that night and we had a really good time. And then, we remained friends to this day.
Really? That's cool.
Nice.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You never told me that.
Yeah. No, he's actually a really good friend of mine. I really enjoyed my time spending with him. Had a couple good days together.
He was a fan favorite for a while. He was my oldest son's favorite player during his time at Syracuse, and he got to go down on the court. And do what?
40-inch vertical as a white guy, hard to beat.
Yeah.
And when he was hot, he was hot, but when he was not, he was not.
Well, I told him as I took my trip during the Final Four when we played Michigan. And I told him, I was like, "Hey, man, on my visit, a lot of people give you shit. And I want you to know that, there's a lot of people that don't believe in you." Because I knew that, like, I could kind of get under his – I don't know how I know this stuff, but, like, I looked at him. I was like, "Hey, you can be a lot better. Like, I want you to be a lot better." And then, like, from that day forward, not that I'm taking responsibility, but, like, he got a lot better from his freshman year, kind of right away. So hopefully I kind of, lit a fire under his ass because, I'm his friend, but I really was a big Syracuse basketball fan, and I remain to this day. So
well, that's cool. I never knew that story, so that's kind of neat. Joe, you never heard that, did you? No, of course you didn't.
No,
because I didn't. Well, all right, Tyler. We appreciate you coming on, man. Don't be a stranger. Are you gonna make yourself available for us? I know you're gonna be busy, but if we ever get rid of this, these sports restrictions, and we got spring ball starting up, and we start doing some Syracuse preseason football stuff, you gonna join us or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of wet your beak real quick on Syracuse football. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about how much I'm invested in the Syracuse football program. I think a lot of people may not know that whether or not I'm coaching let's just say for whatever, I would never take the University of Pittsburgh job just out of spite to them. I would spurn them. But let's just say I was coaching at UPitt. I'd still want to talk a little bit of Syracuse football. So I've been on the train that this year, unfortunately, as crazy as this is, this kind of seems like the biggest year in recent memory as far as Syracuse football goes. And it sucks that it comes at the cost of like this whole virus thing. We get no spring ball because Coach Babers is the guy that we've invested in. We've invested in his program. We've doubled down with giving him an extension. And when you realize that all the things that are kind of stacked up against Coach Babers, it's kind of no wonder why he changed the staff over. In order for him to guarantee, he even took a head coach out of the conference that we were working with at HBU, the Southland Conference, at McNeese State, which was a very good program. So I want to give people the credit of thinking that the new offensive coordinator that we got from McNeese State, Gilbert, he is actually a pretty high IQ guy and a high offensive IQ guy. And he was with Coach, I think, at Bowling Green or at Eastern Illinois. So there is familiarity there. But Coach Babers has kind of went back and said, hey, look, all the chips are on the table for this year. I'm going back to my old staff. And if we don't win, you can start asking questions. But he's kind of laid it all out on the line. He's changed his defense. He's changed a little bit of the offense. He's went to, starting freshman last year on the offensive line. Some of the old familiars are out of here. This is his time. What do you guys kind of feel with this year?
I don't have warm fuzzies about it, to be honest with you.
Neither. It's kind of a all pressure on type of year.
Yeah. Well, and again, we brought that up the other day, and we had talked about it, and Sean asked the question, and he was like, well, maybe we should have waited for Tyler to talk about it. But, Sean, do you want to ask, or
go ahead?
Do you remember?
Go ahead. I don't remember.
Remember? Well, when you brought up the fact
that with them having to cancel spring ball and everything like that, with a program like Syracuse coming off of kind of a disappointing season, and you had, your freaking star quarterback was on and off hurt the entire year, and you got a couple of these new players coming in, and you've got the spring camp for them is very important, as it is for every team, but with Syracuse especially, it seems like them losing this time I feel like they are already going to be behind, and them losing this spring training stuff or the spring camp stuff is just going to be that much worse compared to some of the other teams.
For sure. So I'm not exactly sure offhand how many ACC programs turned over coaching staffs. I know FSU did. Clemson's never going to have to for as long as they want to. Some of the familiars, NC State, Pitt didn't. So I'm just seeing, as the list goes on, I see fewer and fewer teams. UNC, Duke's never going to turn over their coaching staff. So the more I go down this, Georgia Tech's another year older, another year wiser. Miami, same coaching staff. So, but they did change their assistant. So, maybe there's one school that's kind of close to us in that regard. But I guess rhetorical question that I'm coming back to is, how do you make your incumbent players better without playing games? Spring and fall camp. How do you make freshmen better? Just introduce them to college. That's it. They'll raise their game by association of seeing how the college game is played. Like with me, when I understood the speed in which the college game was played, I realized that my best play in high school has to be every play in D1. So then I had to turn my motor up a gear. Okay, so that's fine. Whatever, If you're good enough, you can kind of make that switch, and then you'll get in better shape and yada, 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 or whatever mental gymnastics you want to do to justify that. But in order to make your incumbent players better, the guys that are going from juniors to seniors, sophomore to juniors, how do you make those guys better? You got to spend time with them. You got to nurture them. You got to show them the mistakes that they made on film and prove it to them on why your scheme makes more sense than what they're believing in their head. And without spring ball, that's a detriment to every program across America. The ones that it's not really a big problem for are Clemson, because they have everybody that they need coming back. And then Ohio State. Same thing. They got everything that they need coming back. Alabama, maybe a little bit, but they're still going through quarterback turnover. LSU's going through quarterback turnover. Even the teams that are in the college football playoff need spring ball. There's only a couple teams in the country that don't. So I think that maybe if you were to guess, hey, how does this help our division a little bit, is that FSU also doesn't get spring ball. But really, other than that, it's the entire rest of the schedule. BC is another one.
So you think,
okay, well,
you think it levels the playing field then?
Coaching change.
You think it's equal across the board?
The playing field, yeah.
Really? Okay.
I do.
All right. Well,
but it's only because how many players know exactly what their coaches want them to improve on without asking their coach? I'd say about 5%. The guys that are going to play in the NFL.
Right. Yeah, and we had talked about it, and my answer was basically that every team usually needs spring practice. Every once in a while, you get those teams that overachieve. Some of the players think that they're, they they don't have to work on too much going into the next year, but I'm sure coaches kind of rein them in. But when you change both offensive coordinators and you're changing a whole scheme and a whole, as far as defense goes, then that's a little bit more than just a nurture. They have to learn their new duties on the field, right?
Their new nature. Right, exactly.
So, yes, I mean, it is nurturing them in that, but also it's learning a whole new technique. And sometimes if you're running the same scheme, it's basically like, hey, you just got to change your technique. Like, you're right there. You know what you need to do. You just got to change a couple things here and there, and then you can kind of massage that into making them a better player.
Right.
But when you're changing a whole 4-3 to a 3-3-5, where you're talking about terminology, positions, everything is changing, that's tough to not be on the field. So not saying that that nobody needs spring practice. I mean, spring practice helps everybody, but when you're going through those changes, that definitely does not make anything easier. All they got's a playbook, right? At this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. And I mean,
but to be honest, is like that's how you kind of find out like who your actual guys are. Like Marquise Lee, when he went from Sarah High School to USC, he started as a true freshman and was a breakout guy. I mean, he was an All-American. And the reason why, and I played against him in high school, and he wasn't that good. Like, he wasn't, the guy that was going to be an All-American 3 years in a row for USC and then make it to the NFL as a very, very high. I think he was 33rd overall, so the first pick in the second round. He went to USC and he stuck his nose in the playbook and didn't stop until he memorized every single play and could tell it to you backwards and forwards. Those are the guys that are going to be your difference makers. I don't know how many guys we have at Syracuse right now that are going to be those type of guys. I want to be proven wrong, and that's what I keep trusting Coach Babers for. And I think that we're starting to recruit those guys that have the the IQ, but need to be brought along a little bit further physically. So hopefully fall camp will be the time where we can kind of groom the physical aspect, but hopefully I trust in Coach Babers to have the IQ side down so that he can go, just send out the plays on the iPad and say, hey, if you don't have this memorized, just forget it. And I hopefully that he can put that hammer down.
Right.
Because I think that he has that program now.
Well, and fall camp's a completely different story, right? I mean, I've done about 3/4 of a fall. No, you come in as an incoming freshman. They hand you the playbook and they start right up. They go. Yeah, they have the guys from before.
Waiting on you. They don't want you.
You have this. Yeah. Nope. You have this playbook, and it's up to you to figure it out, or you're just going to be standing on the sidelines because they're going. They're getting ready for the season, and it's very, very fast and intense. Yeah, it's overwhelming. Really, is what it is. But so it's. Yeah, well, it definitely slows down, but again, you got to be ready for that kind of stuff. And sometimes, that speed sometimes slows because there's high school programs, depending on where you come from, that are more comparable to college programs versus not, right? Sure. So, where I was coming from in a high school in Syracuse, not very comparable. I go down to Division II some Division II school in West Virginia where players are coming from all over the place, and these guys had high schools that were way more closer to college programs than me. And that stuff was overwhelming, man, for sure.
Right. And that's where you hope like a McKinley Williams or like a Josh Black that have been on the D line already, that they don't need too much. It's like, hey, I know that you lined up in a 3 last year. Just go one shade over and then, do the same assignment. Like that's easy stuff that you can kind of, and that's where it's like, okay, it's going to be a little bit more patched together. The linebackers, again, are the ones that are turning over, and it's like, and those are the skilled.
Again.
So it's like, we'll see. I think that, but, if they get it year one, then it's like, now we're setting a new floor. Now it's like, okay, well, now we're here, and then we have to start building into that top tier. So it kind of comes with the two-sided thing. It's like, okay, either we're going to suck or we're going to be great. I don't know. There's really no middle ground anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully our plans have the motivation, our players have the motivation to get in the playbook and say, hey, we're going to do it ourselves. Coronavirus is here. We don't got spring practice, but I don't think they want to have another 5.
Right.
I
don't think they do. I think they got enough. I think it got enough returners to kind of, push this thing into overgear. We'll see. I was really, really fortunate to have Marquise Sproul and Cam Lynch, Jay Bromley, all 3 guys that played in the NFL to kind of guide me through my time in the off season. That was not even close to a coronavirus type of off season. So
no,
I don't really like. Again, I had 3 NFLers tell me what to do. I don't know what's going to happen this year, but I know that a guy like Cisco, a guy like Trill Williams, among others, are going to have an idea of what is going to be trying to be done because, it doesn't get limited. Is FaceTime with coaches, playbook analysis with coaches, so it's like that doesn't have to go anywhere. That can still be done. We were doing a little bit of that at HBU anyway, so I think it's possible. But again, I'm not trying to take too much of your time because I like football. I'll keep talking all day, but I'm just excited. Yeah. I mean, it's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, hopefully we can, start seeing sports again. That's the tough part for me, to be honest with you. I think it's a tough part for everybody.
One year the Lakers were good. The 1 year the Lakers were good, they had to take them away from me.
Yeah, well, you got the NBA. You got the NBA. Sean's got NASCAR. I got all sports all together that I'm just upset about. And
I was pretty upset about Syracuse lacrosse. Obviously, basketball. I mean, we don't. Obviously basketball, but the Syracuse lacrosse team was going to be something to hang your hat on this year, I feel like, and they got robbed.
Well, they won the national title, right? I mean, they finished number 1.
Yeah.
Did we get the trophy this year?
Yeah, right. That's what we said. I mean,
when I saw
that post, I was like, I think we won. I think we actually won the title. This is awesome.
Yep. Frozen in time.
So until we go back, Joe and I are going to try to throw out the podcast, whether they be 20 minutes or really freaking long like this one.
Sorry,
it's been.
Hey,
it does not.
Tyler can sit here and
I know.
We can talk football forever.
I know.
And it's,
I know.
You wait for your NASCAR and your summer.
Hey,
I know.
It is all good. I enjoy listening to it. I'm sure everybody else does too.
I think I saw you fall asleep.
That is not true. I listened and learned. So
I think that there's a couple rollovers from the Trademark podcast that might, stay the entire length of time. I don't know though. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, your shows, a lot of your shows are evergreen.
Some are.
Some are, but I mean, some aren't. But a lot of them are. A lot of them are basic, not stuck in time type things. Not basic, but it's like
I really tried season 2. I really tried to make that happen because I realized like there's a difference between like going day to day news and then like only having it being relevant like that day to being like, oh wait, actually, if Justin Barron is a commit and he's going to be a senior in high school today, that means he's a senior in college potentially 5 years from now. That could still be like relevant from like every year. Yeah. So that helped.
Right.
And that's kind of common sense that as you get a little bit older, a little wiser, it helps. I don't know. Who knows?
But if you, do you still have an account to upload to?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and open up the wallet and start doing that.
Right. Well, but we've already kind of talked about this, but if you have time and you wanted to get down and do something, all you got to do is send me the file. I'll throw it up on our platform. You know that.
I just don't know where I'd even go. I think the only thing I could possibly do is just talk to you guys, but have it be something that I don't know. I feel so like distant from that world now. It feels good to be back on the air with you guys.
Well, good. You're welcome back anytime. Look, we're going to have you back, obviously, once everything gets settled. It was great having you again. Thanks for coming on, bro. We appreciate it. Keep voting on the movie madness. Okay, maybe there's something.
I voted on every single one so far.
Okay, well, we appreciate it, and if it does okay, maybe there's another one coming. Who knows? There's another one coming. So, one question, real quick, though, because I had this at the beginning of my notes. But what is your all-time favorite movie right now? I know sometimes it changes, but right now, if you had to pick one, what would it be?
I think it's still Shawshank. I still have that kind of number 1 overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is. Because I'll put it this way. After I watched that movie from start to finish with no interruptions, I said that's number 1 overall. I don't care what anybody else says. And I haven't felt that way about a movie since.
Okay.
So I think that kind of makes it feel that way. There's a lot of there's a lot of I don't want to upset you guys when I say this. There's a lot of good movies out there.
I know. No, we missed some for sure. I saw a couple earlier when you had that IMDb thing come up. I saw The Departed. I'm like, oh, The Departed.
That's up.
Yeah, you could do that all day, though, Joe. We can't beat ourselves up about it.
Out there.
Yeah, it is what it is. We haven't had too many complaints about missing movies, so I'll take it. People are just.
I think like I said, I think the bracket was solid overall. I just think the seeding was a little bit like kind of thrown together.
Yeah, Joe. Totally.
Yep.
I agree, Tyler.
Procrastinating Joe.
All right. Look, that's
All right.
that's it. We love you, Tyler. Thanks for coming back on. You know you're welcome anytime. Thank you, Simply Safe. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you to everybody who's actually, if you're still listening right now, you are a super fan. You are our Cuse Militia super fan. We appreciate you. For James on guitar, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.